The following contest scheduled for one fall.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to One Fall Friday. This week we are talking about this Sunday's event, No Mercy. It is Raw's next pay-per-view. We got a lot of good matches to talk about, and we're going to start off with the Cruiserweight Championship, Neville versus Enzo Amore. Now, I really haven't seen a whole lot of build-up for this match, namely because I really don't watch 205 Live that much. That's my fault. I really need to do that more. But, I mean, really, they're trying to build talents, and so there's not, like, important story going on. Really, the only important story is what goes on, in my opinion, with the Cruiserweight Championship. And Neville has been probably the best champion that they've had. I think there's only really been 3 or 4 champions since they started redoing the whole Cruiserweight division. But Neville has been really, really awesome, and I really don't see why. I mean, Enzo Amore, he's great on the microphone. He's got character. He's got the people behind him. In-ring skill, it's kind of, he definitely, I don't really think he's as good as Neville. He's, to coin the phrase, he's not on the Neville level. But I don't want to discount Enzo at all, either, because he's good, but I don't know, just Enzo's better. So, prediction, I think Neville's going to keep the championship. I think this move with Enzo is just to get some more attention and some more heat onto the Cruiserweight division. And I think it kind of worked. It kind of didn't. I mean, really, I don't think anybody else in the division was ready to step up and have a title shot. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say Neville retains the championship. Next up is Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. This is the third time these guys have met against each other. It's the rubber match. They both have a win apiece. Bray Wyatt won once on Monday Night Raw. It was the Raw before SummerSlam, and then Finn Balor won at SummerSlam. So I don't really know who would win this match. They both seem to have some equal momentum going into this. Finn, he definitely needs the win because, he was at the Universal Championship level, and then he had his injury, and so he's trying to build his way back up. Bray Wyatt, he's a hit and miss kind of guy. He'll win some and he loses some. And he's a former WWE championship. He's a former WWE champion himself. And so it certainly wouldn't hurt for him to have a win in this particular environment either. But only one can win. And my prediction is going to go to Finn Balor. I think he's going to walk out with the win on this one. Okay, one of the big matches of the night is John Cena versus Roman Reigns. This match, it'll probably be, I don't know. If they paced it right, they would put this probably somewhere in the middle of the card. Yeah, I mean, it's main event quality, and it's certainly not any more or less important as the Universal title match. But if you put this match right behind the Universal title match, or even in front of the Universal title match, the crowd's going to be, they're really going to be into one of these matches, whichever one goes first. You want to give the crowd some time to cool off, to kind of calm down, to get off of the adrenaline from one of these matches, because it's definitely going to be pumping. So it would make sense if they put it in the middle of the card. I really don't know where they're going to put it. Don't care. Anyway, the match itself has been booked very well. It's very, very interesting because a lot of this build-up and a lot of the promos for this it's been nothing but promos. It's all vocal work. It's all social media work. There has been very little to no physical altercation between these two guys. They were thrown in a couple tag team matches way back, and there was a little miscommunication in the match, and one hit the other, whatever. Didn't really amount to that much because they didn't really use it as a springboard for the hatred between the two. it's all just verbal, it's smack talking, and a lot of it, I think it's like, I think they're secretly breaking the fourth wall here, because a lot of what is being said between both John Cena and Roman Reigns are a lot of complaints that people on social media make. The people that don't like John Cena, the people that don't like Roman Reigns. All of this is being brought up, and it's like, okay, so who's gonna win? Who's gonna be the one that the people will get behind, and who will be the one that people are just gonna hate no matter what, because both of these guys are very hated individuals. So you're just left with that question. And I think that John Cena is going to do the favor for Roman Reigns in this one. John Cena, he has a history of burying talent in the past, and it would be great to see him bury Roman Reigns. But I really don't think that's going to happen. I think the draw was there to have the match. They had plans for Roman Reigns already, and they didn't want to wait till Mania to do it, so let's go ahead and do the match now. Hell, they might even have one or two more matches after this first match. You never know. I don't think it's just going to be a one and done. I think that would be stupid if they did that. They need to at least have three. A win apiece, and then the rubber match, just like we're seeing with Finn and Bray. But I really think John Cena is going to do the favor. He is part-time, whether he promotes himself that way or he doesn't. He tries to deny it. I'm still here full-time, whatever. We know what your role is, John. You're not getting any younger, and it's time to start doing the favors a little more often. They had to do what they had to do with Baron Corbin and John Cena, because Baron Corbin got in a lot of trouble, so that's what happens. John Cena comes to sweep away the problem. So I look for Roman Reigns to go over in this match. The Raw Tag Team Championship is going to be the rematch of Sheamus and Cesaro versus Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, they make a good tag team. You can tell they've definitely put in some work. They have some tandem offense. They look good. Cesaro and Sheamus, they're just as good now as they were once they turned heel. When they turned heel, that's when they started getting really good. They were both good already, especially in singles competition. They're far above a lot of other singles competitors, but they just didn't have room for them in the single competition, so they put the two together. They've been working really well together. It got even better once they had the character change, and they started calling themselves the Bar and the Thumbs Up and the Fusion Technique. It's all been really, really good. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, they go back. They were part of the Shield, so the chemistry is there. Like I said just a second ago, they've been working on their offense, looking really, really good. So I expect this to be a pretty good match, one of the best matches of the night, I would say. And we haven't even seen the match yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of, if not the best match of the night. However, winners, I don't know. I think Sheamus and Cesaro might take it back. I think they did the thing with Ambrose and Rollins because they had to put the Revival on the shelf because one of them got hurt, and it was kind of a last-minute decision thing to do. They might have had other plans for them. Maybe they were going to get together anyway, but maybe they weren't necessarily going to be tag champs. They were going to make amends. I really don't know, but I don't want to see them lose, but I think they might lose. And Cesaro and Sheamus, they're two-time champs, and it would, look better to have them as three-time champs, to really solidify themselves as a good tag team. Especially if they're not going to give other tag teams a shot. The Hardy Boys, we've seen them as champions, and they've been champions numerous times in the past. Really don't need to see that, but like Gallows and Anderson, they've only held the belts once, and it wasn't really for that long, and they're a great tag team. I want to see them and the Revival have a long rivalry, and those would be some good matches. And you see, I don't know if you would book the Revival as faces in this, or if you would just have, the two heels pitted up against each other to see who's the more dominant. Either way, they would have great matches, and I want these two teams to have some matches together. So, maybe sometime down the line, Gallows and Anderson will get the titles back again. But for now, I think I'm going to go ahead and say Sheamus and Cesaro will win back the tag team titles from Rollins and Ambrose. So this match was added kind of at the last minute. I mean, you could kind of see it coming, but it wasn't booked until just this past Monday. It's the Intercontinental title. Let's try this again. So this next match, it wasn't announced until just this past Monday, but you could kind of tell that it was going to get to this. It's The Miz versus Jason Jordan Intercontinental title match. So there's been a little bit of a relationship between Jason Jordan and The Miz, but like I said last week, The Miz and like who he would talk to or who he would interact with, the last month he's been all over the place, and then at the very last minute we come back around to Jason Jordan. He won a 6-pack challenge match and became #1 contender for the title. I don't think he's ready to be champion just yet. That doesn't mean that he won't win. Him and Chad Gable, they won the SmackDown Tag Team titles right after debuting, so wouldn't surprise me if he did win. But creatively, I think it's not time. I think that The Miz still has a lot of life in him, and I don't think Jason. I mean, he could make Jason Jordan absolutely by giving him the title, but I don't think that's what he wants to do. I mean, I know eventually they are going to take the belt off him because Maurice is going to have her baby, and he's going to want to, take some time off for that to be with her, get her adjusted to being a mom. I don't know. Hopefully we haven't seen the last of her on TV, because those two together, they had great chemistry. And I don't think... I mean, she's doing Total Divas now, so she's definitely earning a paycheck. She doesn't have to be on the actual in-ring shows like Raw or SmackDown. So I wouldn't blame her for not doing it anymore, but I really hope that she does come back once they do have the baby. So, yeah, I don't think The Miz is ready to drop the title just yet. I think Jason Jordan needs to grow more before he's Intercontinental Champion. Plus, I really don't see any good opponents for Jason Jordan in the future. I think him and Miz, they could have a few matches together, and it'd be a good rivalry. But I think in the end, The Miz will still be Intercontinental Champion. I almost said title. Okay, the Raw Women's Championship match has undergone yet another change. We've gone from a Fatal 4-Way to a Fatal 5-Way. As you know, Alexa Bliss, the champion, is in the match. Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, and Emma. And now we got Bayley. Bayley's done healing from her shoulder injury. She showed up on Raw this past Monday, and then she just gets put in the match. So this right here tells me that this match really isn't that important, that they're probably planning on keeping Alexa as the champion, like I said last week. I think... she'll be champion, and then her and Nia Jax will have a one-on-one match, and Nia Jax will end up taking the title off of her. And then that'll leave room for maybe either Asuka, who I've heard is going to debut in a few weeks. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. And I've also heard that Paige is making her return to Monday Night Raw. I think Asuka and Paige would be good first opponents for each other. For Paige just coming back from injury, and for Asuka making her main roster debut, but also because those are the two women who had the NXT Women's Championship and never lost it. They successfully held on to it until they made their way to the main roster. So that's your drawing power right there for that match. The two undefeated NXT Women's Champions going up against each other to see, who would win. That right there's your match. You don't have to say anything else. You don't need any promos. It's just right there it is. That's easy money. Why don't you do that? And so yeah, I think Alexa Bliss is going to retain the title against these four. Also, this kind of gives us an opportunity for either Sasha or Bayley to make the heel turn. I've been saying this for a long time now. I could sense it coming, but it keeps getting put back because things happen. People get injured. Stories change, all kinds of shit. But this would be the time for it to happen. I think either one of them would be a great heel, and I think they would have a great rivalry. Go back and watch their match at NXT, the Iron Man match that they had. It was a great match. They absolutely stole the show, and I think they should definitely revive that rivalry on Monday Night Raw. So Alexa Bliss retains Raw Women's Championship. And the main event, Brock Lesnar, the Universal Champion, versus Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman has been absolutely on fire. He's been dominant. He hasn't given an inch to Brock Lesnar. Anytime these two were in the ring together, Braun Strowman ends up being the dominant one. Which is why I think Brock Lesnar will probably retain the championship. I would love to see Braun Strowman win the title. In fact, I thought for sure that when they did finally go one-on-one that he would win the championship. But the way that they've booked this match, Brock Lesnar, if they really are gonna keep the title on him, or if he's gonna be champion by the time WrestleMania comes around, he needs this win against Braun Strowman. It'll just make him look like that much more of a dominant force, for which it'll probably be Roman Reigns, for him to topple down for the Universal title come WrestleMania. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that, well, like I said, the rumor is that he'll be champion until then. But they could always take the title off of him for maybe a month or two and then put it back on him further down the road. That would be a good story for them to tell. I would like that if Braun Strowman won the match and became Universal Champion and had a what's the word I'm looking for? Dominant title run. He put him up against Samoa Joe. Where's Samoa Joe been anyway since SummerSlam? I haven't really heard anything about him. I maybe he got injured. I don't know. I hope he's okay. Anyway, put him up against Samoa Joe. Put him up against, I guess you could have put him up against Colin Cassidy if he hadn't got hurt. The fact is, you could put him up against anybody, have him win. He could be a legitimate champion, and then Brock Lesnar could come back, having learned from his mistakes with the match, and then take the title back off of Braun Strowman. And then you could have them have a rematch again, and he could retain the title, and that will make him look strong for WrestleMania. Either way, by the time WrestleMania gets here, I think Brock Lesnar will be the champion. Whether he's going to win this Sunday or not, I really don't know. I can't call it either way. But I'm almost, I would say 20% sure that Brock Lesnar will probably retain the title. Alright, you guys, that's going to do it for me this week. Next week, we're going to talk about the results of No Mercy, see how accurate or not so accurate I was in my predictions. Let me know your predictions in the comments. If you agree with what I say, or if you have your own thoughts, your own predictions, be sure to let me know. Let's talk. I love talking about wrestling. So, until next week, thank you guys very much for watching this episode. I'll be back later with another video. See you there. My name is Dave, and I am the One Man Rave. See ya!